Hello and welcome back to a new video. This is teacher Farah Zoe from Oxford Schools and I hope you're doing super well. Right now we will do the goat on the rug part 2. I hope you came prepared. Alright, so far we know that this woman over here, the Navajo woman over here is called Glenmay. This is our goat, the main character. She's the one who's telling us the story. And it's called Geraldine. So right now, as you can see, Geraldine is naked out of wool. She has no wool on her body because it was chopped off by Glen May. She trimmed all of it, and right now, as you can see, she has a bucket, water, and soap. Now let's see what she's doing with the wool. The first thing Glen May did was chop up roots from a yucca plant. Yucca is used instead of soap. The roots made a soapy, rich lather when she mixed them with water. So the yucca plant made a rich lather when she mixed it with water because here the yucca plant works as um, a soap. So why did Glenmay clip off Geraldine's wool? Because she wants to make a rug out of it. Alright. Now she washed my wool in the suds until it was clean and white. The suds and lather is a frothy white mass of bubbles produced by soap. And here, what is our soap? A yucca plant, because Navajo people use all the natural elements in nature to use them as their products. So here she used a yucca plant to instead of soap to produce a soapy leather, um, uh, rich leather when she mixed it with water to clean the wool. So why did she clip off Geraldine's wool in the first place? To make a rug. So what was the first step after chopping it off? Cleaning it with suds. Cleaning it with suds that was produced by what? A yucca plant. Yucca plant. Alright. Why did Glenmay use the yucca plant in washing Geraldine's wool? Because again, this plant is the natural substitute of soap. So it used it as a natural soap again, as you can see here. Now let's move to the next page. Page 284. So far, we already know that Glenmay chopped off the wool, cleaned the wool with water and a yucca plant soap. So right now, we will know what happened next. After that, a little bit of me, you might say, was hung up in the sun to dry. What do you do after washing your laundry? You hang it up in the sun to let it dry. So she hung up the wool in the sun to dry after washing it. When my wool was dry, Glenmay took out two large square combs with many teeth, like this. This is a comb with many teeth. Why do we use combs? To brush our hair. But here, what is getting brushed? The wool. But why? Think about it. Alright. Glenmay took out two large square combs with many teeth. By combing my wool between these carding combs, as they are called, she removed any bits of twigs and burrs and straightened out the fibers. So these are the fibers that were on her body, and they got straightened by combing them. And she also got out any bits of pieces of twigs and burrs and whatever. And how she might got them? Think about it. How might a goat get in her body, in her wool, twigs and burrs and the sticks, wood, alright, as you might say. So she told me it helped make a smoother yarn for spinning. So first of all, how do you think the wool might have gotten twigs and burrs in it? How? So after chopping off the wool, it was not clean enough to make a yarn, to make a rug out of it. So Glenmay had to clean it off by combing it. How? How did these are the twigs and burrs, just to make it clearer. How did these get into Geraldine's wool? Because goats and sheep keep rubbing their bodies against what? The grass and plants. Because the wool used to be Geraldine's coat, and the wool's fibers may have collected twigs and burrs when she rubbed against plants. So they are known to be very playful, and they love when they eat sometimes to sit on the ground, on plants, and this is how the wool may have collected these twigs and burrs. So what is a yarn? It is a spun of thread used in knitting and weaving. Also spinning, twisting pieces of material together to make a yarn or thread. Alright. Page 285. Now you will be able to know what is spinning, what is spindle. The more we get into the story, you'll be able to figure it out. Alright. Then Glenmay carefully started to spin my wool. Spin? What is the meaning of spinning? Do you see this here? This tool? It's called a spindle. Why? Because they spin the wool on it to make threads like this. To make a sponge of wool of yarn. So she keeps twisting the yarn, the wool around it, and at the end it will be a spun of yarn. So now let's read. Then Glenmay carefully started to spin my wool, one small bundle at a time, into yarn. I was beginning to find out it takes a long while to make a Navajo rug. Again and again, Glenmay twisted and pulled the wool. Why is she twisting and pulling? She's twisting and pulling around this bundle to make a yarn, alright? Because this whole bundle will be a yarn. Then she spun it around a long, thin stick she called a spindle. This is a spindle. Right now, it's installed on a spinning machine, as you could see, but here she's doing it manually. But usually it was installed on a spinning machine. It keeps spinning to keep twisting the wool around the spindle, and at the end of the day it will be a bundle of yarn. As she twisted and pulled and spun, the finer, stronger, and smoother the yarn became. Alright, how is the step of combing the wool connected to the step of spinning? Let me tell you something. How will Glenmay be able to spin the wool if it was full of twigs and burrs? Will you be able to spin the wool if it was unclean? I don't think so. So if Glenmay didn't get the twigs and burrs out of the wool, she wouldn't be able to spin it into yarn. As simple as that. It had to be cleaned out of twigs and burrs, so she can be able to twist it around the spindle to make it a yarn. Alright. So sequence of events retell what Glenmay has done so far to make the rug. So far, she has trimmed Geraldine's wool and brushed the wool, spun the wool by twisting and pulling it. So So far, you need to memorize the steps of making a rug. So far, she trimmed or chopped off Geraldine's wool. First, you chop off the wool. Second of all, you brush it or comb it to get all of the twigs and burrs and make it clean. 3. Spin it. You have to spin the wool around a spindle to make yarns. And yarns are the bundle of wool like this. This is a yarn. Okay. Page 286. A few days later, Glen May and I went for a walk. She said we were going to find some special plants she would use to make dye. What is the meaning of dye? Again, it is a paint. You use it to paint wool or hair. Okay, it is a liquid substance that is used to change the color of wool or hair. I didn't know what dye meant, but it sounded like a picnic to me. Because come on, like they're going to pick some plants and they are walking, so she considered it as a picnic. I do love to eat plants. That's what got me in trouble. Trouble? Let's find out. What trouble do you think that Geraldine got herself into? Hmm. Did you do you think now what she has done? Now let's find out. Why do you think Glen May wants to find plants to make a dye? Why? Again, this Navajo woman loves to use nature in making products on her wool to make the rug. So she will use the dye to add color to the wool from Geraldine. But why? As you can see, Geraldine's wool is white. So Glen May is looking for a plants to make a dye out of and change the wool's color. Okay, so right now all we know that Glen May is looking for plants to make a dye to change the wool's color. Page 287. While Glen May was out looking for more plants, I ate every one she had already collected in her bucket. Delicious. It was yummy for Geraldine. So, how do you think Glen May feels about Geraldine's eating all the plants? She will be super upset. So Glen May will be upset. But why? Why do you think eating the plants will get Geraldine into trouble? Because she will have no plants to make a dye for the wool. So Geraldine will be in trouble. So this was it for this part of the video. Thank you for watching.